I keep declaring that Alcoholics Anonymous is a cult, but how do I come to this conclusion? Well, I have some very standardized signs of cults, according to most experts on the matter. Now let's see if AA fits the mold. I have declared many times that I believe Alcoholics Anonymous is a cult. I think its longtime members are cult leaders. I contend that the newly sober are in their weakest state when they walk through the doors of the rooms, which makes them prey for these cult leaders. Once one is indoctrinated and years pass, the cult is very difficult to leave. It is difficult to leave because of the tactics used by the other members on those trying to escape. The AA member will snarl at this contention. They claim there are no leaders. There are simply alcoholics serving other alcoholics. Some will state that they don't care how one stays sober as long as he does. The rebuttal is anyone can leave at any time. No one is forced to stay. This is true. No one puts a gun to your head and makes you come to meetings. But there is coercion for sure for the ones who have dissenting opinions about the inner workings of the circle. And there definitely is if one takes a step further and exits from the rooms altogether. But how can I say it's a cult? What basis do I have for that grand assumption? Well, any basic search will give a plethora of articles listing the characteristics of a cult. On my YouTube channel that debunks the tenets of Christian fundamentalism, I posted a video explaining why the methods their particular churches resemble exactly those used by a cult, which I crossed with several sources. Let's see if AA method also matches these traits that are listed which describe cults. The first major sign is absolute authoritarianism. Now, again, AA claims they have no official leaders. Sure, no one is designated officially, but the sponsors are the leaders, and usually there's a long-time sober member who still goes to AA almost every night, initiates circle groups, and is the bullhorn of AA tenets. Any of us who've been to a meeting know this. I am critiqued by AA members because I only went to 2. But after I announced that I was a former alcoholic, the leader emerged and attempted to correct me, in which I shut him down. I was 11 months sober before I entered the room, so wasn't quite as programmable. He walked away enraged that someone defied the mantra. But you only went to 2 meetings, so how can you possibly make this global assessment, Charles? First, I have a family member who was a longtime participant of the rooms before he left them as well. I was well versed in AA philosophy. It was the same cult-like atmosphere in 2 meetings in 2 weeks at 2 different locations. And 2 of my internet compadres, channels Quackoholics Anonymous and Sobriety Bestie, were in the rooms for a decade or so. We are all saying the same thing. Everyone who escaped AA has identical tales. You're expected to follow the mantra without question. That is the first characteristic that AA owns, which resembles a cult. The second characteristic of a cult rides on the back of the first. Criticism and dissenting opinions are not tolerated. This is the atmosphere of AA. I said I was a former alcoholic in my second meeting at the second location. The snarl was immediate. Never mind, I already been sober longer than most of the members sitting in the circle. Never mind, I was on a highly charged fitness program and they were smoking and guzzling coffee instead of being in the gym. Never mind that I noted far less anxiety about social events which involved alcohol than the guy sitting next to me with twice as much time sober, who told his story of being anxiety-ridden before a simple party at a neighbor's house. I was not repeating the mantra in lockstep march. It angered them greatly I wasn't following the program, yet succeeding not only in sobriety, but in creating a far better life than them. If they weren't a cult, they wouldn't have had this outrage. The next 2 signs largely go together, instilling a fear of the outside world and that former members were wrong to leave. Really, AA, I would like for you to attempt to defend this. I see it in my comments all the time. They will condescendingly state, "Not to worry, AA will be there when you relapse." I'm 17 years sober. I think if I was going to relapse, I would have done it by now. It is really easy not to drink after almost 2 decades, as cravings are now very infrequent, minor, and transient. They would like to assume that if you leave the rooms, you're destined to return to alcoholism. Trust me, the choice not to drink isn't made by going to an hour meeting in the evenings. Then they'll use fear tactics and coercion to try to bring you back. Go to the 2 other channels besides mine, and they're going to tell you the same thing. They'll tell you they were sponsors and one-time leaders of the circle, mouthing the same mantra before they had their revelations that they existed in a cult. Another major sign of a cult is instilling in the followers that they'll never be good enough. That is point on the AA philosophy, whether they acknowledge it or not. First, they tell you that you're always an addict, always diseased, and recovery will never end. That is their premise, and it's total garbage. Just because long-deceased founder Bill Wilson established this tenet doesn't make it true. I'm not diseased. I'm involved in constant advancement of self in all my planes. The physical, emotional, and career, which together advance my spiritual sphere. I'm not an addict. I just don't drink anymore. Here's another one that describes AA. Belief that the leaders are all-knowing in the exclusive truth and are right at all times. You'll see this trait in a fundamentalist church with the pastor at the pulpit and the senior members of the congregation, and you'll see the same in AA sponsors and few longtime members. Right before I announced that I was a former alcoholic to the circle, the leader just stated with emphatic and complete authority that AA was the only way to stay sober. The newer members believe he must be right or else he wouldn't be 20 years sober. Well, he's not right at all. The program of AA has at least an 80% failure rate, and that number is being gracious. This would explain why I get that snarl in my comment section, as well as in Quackoholics Anonymous and Sobriety Bestie's feed. Those of us who regained our emotional health and are sober are a threat to their truth. If we take away their truth, we take away their authority. And the premise of all cults is to maintain that authority. AA can argue this point and tell me I have it all wrong. The problem is Bestie interviews many people who were former AA members, and they all say the same thing, and I'm saying the same thing. Everyone who leaves AA says the same thing. Coercion, emotional manipulation, and fear tactics were attempted on Victor and Kirsten, creators of these noted channels above. All of Bestie's interviewees report sponsors harassing them once they exited the doors of AA. They tell the escapee that his or her life will fall to shambles if they don't come back. This is what a cult does. The longer one's in a cult, the harder it is to leave. It begs the question why this veteran AA member even wanted to confront me. Because people who progress their lives, they'll use tools from a variety of sources to continue to advance their beings. They don't dig in their heels, and they understand what works for them may be altered by someone else. And they don't get angry when they hear of one's success in whatever endeavor they are pursuing, whether it be sobriety or anything else that enhances their lives. But a cult doesn't want its members to advance themselves. They certainly don't want individuality or original thought. Alcoholics Anonymous operates exactly like the Christian fundamentalist churches I described in that long ago video. Both are cults. They are known as high control groups. Their overall mission isn't support, but lies in that very control of their members. The huge travesty for AA is they are dealing with people who want to be sober. If they weren't so cult-like, they would have advanced out of the dark ages of Bill and Bob's world and adjusted their program to help alcoholics instead of establishing an iron fist over them. For the few who actually stay sober, they may be sober, but how much the rooms help them is a matter of great debate. These poor souls are trapped in the rooms, afraid to live life on their own. They are truly afraid to be cured and free from the addiction. Their master status is now revolved around a horrific past that keeps being regurgitated in every meeting. They aren't spending their time with physical fitness or advancement of self. Their life is now a circle of chaos that the cult leaders say can never be left. The fact is, you can leave. You can leave anytime you want, AA member. You do not need the rooms to stay sober. You can be free from the status of addict. You can rejoin the world, you just do it with a soda water and 2 limes. Life is waiting for you to return. Don't let the AA cult keep you in prison from it. Now, if you like this content, go ahead and follow along and subscribe. And for my condensed work on how to change your life on all planes, check out Reinvention of Self, How to Change Your Life and Being Forever. Link is in the description, usually free on KDP. And remember, keep your contract, Be sober at sundown, and I will see you at sunrise.